that works a lot better. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And we're going to go all the way up to the top. And going to make this big. Okay, again, I want to welcome all of you for coming on tonight. And I know that some of you are still coming on. I'm muting you. If you come on after I've muted you, I might have to mute you again. But if you have a comment, if you have something that you'd like to say or a question that you have, you can either ask the question in the chat box or you can unmute yourself and ask, because this is an informal class. I'm here for you. The only reason I'm doing these classes is so that you can learn. My name is Christina Campbell. This is my wonderful husband, Kenneth Jerome Campbell. And we've been with Young Living for 21 years. We got it in June of 1999. We were just discussing that. I took my GI Bill from the United States Army and became a nationally registered certified master aromatherapist. And I did that only because the oils had changed my life so dramatically. I had been diagnosed with Gulf War syndrome. And also, if you would like a video of my story sent to your email, you put that in the chat box and your email address, and I will make sure that you hear my story because I have that recorded. Also, I do have a YouTube channel. All of these classes are going out there right now until somebody tells me I have to shut them down. My YouTube channel is Christina Campbell, and that's Christina without an H. So it's C, whoops, page up. I'm not doing this very good. I'm having trouble here. Okay, yeah, Kathleen, I think I have your email address. Lee, yeah, I'll send you that. Okay, great. So with that being said, I was in the Army. That's how Kenneth and I actually met. I wish he would get a little closer or huggle up to me a little bit better. Maybe I need to strengthen his thyroid. I don't know. But I was diagnosed with Gulf War syndrome, and I was a very, very, very sick person. In fact, I found a journal that I had written in January of 1999. I found it a couple of weeks ago, and I was reading through it, and I had forgotten how sick I was. I think it's just something you push out of your mind. And in June of 1999, I prayed for the first time in 12 years, and I found these oils, and they literally changed my life. And so here I am 21 years later, 21 years older, and I'm healthier now than I have been, than I was ever at that time in my life. And so I just felt compelled after I got my healing through Young Living and through God. I give all the glory to God, don't get me wrong. He uses the oils as a modality because he created the plants, and these come directly from the plants. So, so I'm just very grateful that I've had the healing, and I felt compelled to teach people about what I had learned. You do not have to become an aromatherapist or anything like that to share a testimonial of what these oils have done for you, of how God has used these oils to heal your body. And I talk to people, my body, mind, and spirit, actually. And I talk to people almost on a daily basis that remind me of their testimonials, and it is just so incredible. It's so incredible. Put your testimonial out there so that people can see how God has led you and the healing that you've had. Okay, so tonight we're going to talk briefly about thyroid health. We're going to get into oils and supplements that can support the thyroid. Natural solutions, basically, how to support the thyroid. So let's just get started. I like to go through a little bit of anatomy and physiology with you so that you understand where the thyroid sits and basically some of the functions of that gland and symptoms of both hypothyroidism and hyperthyroidism. So the thyroid is actually called the energy gland, and there are three energy glands. And I have a book here called Inner Transformations Using Essential Oils, and it's a fabulous book by two chiropractors, Dr. Leanne and Dr. David Duerdeff. And they've been around for probably longer than I have in Young Living. But when she put this book together, she covered all of those, organs, glands, and the lymph, the gallbladder, the heart, the spleen, the pancreas, the thyroid, the pituitary. She's just done a really, really good job and talks about cleansing, the colon, the lungs, and she talks about three energy glands. And those energy glands she mentions are the thyroid gland, the pituitary gland, and let's see if I can find the other one. She talks about the liver a lot too. Yeah, when I'm looking for it, I can't find it, right? The pituitary gland, the thyroid gland, and the adrenals. Those are the three energy glands. So when you have low energy, you either have adrenal fatigue, or you have a compromised thyroid, or your pituitary gland may have been damaged, or through whiplash or head trauma, or being dropped as a child on your head. Any time of head trauma can cause pituitary damage, and all three of these glands are energy glands. So the thyroid in particular is located in the lower part of the neck below the Adam's apple, and it's shaped like two little wings of a butterfly, and it's attached by a middle part, and it does way more than I'm mentioning here, but basically it controls your heart rate, it controls blood pressure, it controls body temperature, immune function. And when I talked about the immune function a couple of weeks ago, and we talked about how lemon oil actually increases white blood cell formation in the bone marrow. That's where white blood cells are made. They're made in the bone marrow. And once they're made, those immature leukocytes and lymphocytes and T cells are deployed to the thyroid, where they mature. And they must mature there, and then they're deployed into the bloodstream, into the body, to help the body fight bacteria and viruses and disease. It's our immunity. We have two basic immune storehouses, and one of them is the gut, and the other is the thyroid, where it's storing T cells while they're maturing. So it helps with immune function in that way. It helps with emotions because it definitely helps to regulate hormone balance and at the rate of which food is converted into energy. It's also the gatekeeper for the thermostat of the body. That's why it says body temperature. And it is the gatekeeper for calcium deployability or absorbability in the body. You may not be absorbing calcium if you have a thyroid that's compromised. So these are some of the things. The thyroid, these glands are very, very intricate, and they are very dependent upon other glands, bodies, and systems. So it's really difficult to give you the full picture when you're just talking about one thing. But this is what was asked for, so I've kind of just, taken that out of the endocrine system in its whole, because it takes me about 3 hours to do the endocrine system, and I usually break it up into 2 different nights. So this way you're getting a little bit of taste of the endocrine system just from a thyroid perspective. Okay, so let's talk about the difference between hypo and hyperthyroidism. Hyperthyroidism is overproduction of hormone that increases the body's metabolism. So you have lots of energy. And this can create both mental and physical symptoms. Because your energy level is so high, you could have weight loss, but you're hungry all the time. Your metabolism is a lot faster. You might even be short of breath and fatigued all the time because you have all this energy, you're expending all this energy, and now you're wearing yourself out. Hyperthyroidism can cause an intolerance to heat. It can cause heart palpitations, increased frequency of bowel movements. It's almost like everything has just been turned up a little bit too fast. You can have weak muscles, tremors, and anxiety because you're just turned up too fast. You might not be able to sleep well. You're going to have difficulty sleeping. And you can tell hyperthyroidism a lot of times by just looking at a person's eyes. If they're really bulging or if they have a goiter, this is, a thickening in the throat or kind of a lump in the throat. This is a good sign of hyperthyroidism. The causes, it can be inherited, but much of the hyperthyroidism today is environmental contaminants. I'm not going to go through environmental contaminants tonight. We went through that with kicking toxic chemicals to the curb last week. And I think you guys got a pretty good idea that the smartest thing that you can do is get rid of any chemicals in your home. And these include, help me out here, Kenneth. These include cleaners, sprays. I was thinking of plug-ins.
That too, Glade plug-ins.
Glade plug-ins, personal care products that are full of chemicals. Febreze, Lysol, Kenneth said. Yeah, all of these are very toxic chemicals. Chlorine bleach should not be used in your clothing, should not be taken internally, and they put chlorine in our water. I don't have it in my water, but some people have it in their water. So I'm not going to get into that, but these environmental contaminants can cause both hyper and hypothyroidism. Hyperthyroidism can affect all ages, but it usually occurs after the age of 15. So hypothyroidism is when you have an insufficient supply of hormone that is supposed to be regulating the body's metabolism. And so you're going to be tired. You're going to be sluggish, feel depressed. Your skin may be dry and pale with increased sensitivity to the cold. Your face may be puffy and your voice hoarse, and you might have an unexplained weight gain. But please, if you're gaining weight, do not just rush to the thought that, oh, I have hypothyroidism. It could be a myriad of things. Number one, it could be what you're eating. It could be lack of exercise. There could be other imbalances. One of the best things you can do to find out where your thyroid is in terms of health is to have a T3 TSH test, thyroid test done, blood test, it's a blood test, or I recommend getting a Zyto and having a Zyto Elite person like Pam Hyan or Dana Christensen look specifically at your thyroid and see what is showing up for that. I prefer Zyto testing over bloodletting myself.
No leeches around here.
Yeah, blood testing, because I don't think it's as accurate. And, at the end of the day, I think the Zyto at $60 a pop is probably a better value. Anyway, unexplained weight gain, brittle fingernails and hair. This is a good indicator. However, you could be deficient in sulfur. And that's, I would recommend Sulfurzyme first. Sulfurzyme will give you good, healthy hair, good, healthy nails. Not to mention, it's my number one recommendation for rheumatoid arthritis and osteoarthritis. It's a really great pain reliever. Our body is deficient in sulfur. So it may not be your thyroid. It could be that you have a sulfur deficiency. It's otherwise known as moans, groans, stones, and bones. In other words, everything aches. We walk around so sluggish and depressed, and it's just a terrible feeling. And people who get their thyroid tested and they find they are hypothyroid, and they're given a medication, in some cases that synthetic medication will help them feel a lot better. But many of you who are on tonight are looking for natural ways, and that's why I'm here. I mean, you know, so far we still have some of our freedoms. We have the freedom to choose between conventional Western medicine that dispenses pharmaceutical drugs, or we have the choice between choosing natural things that God put in place on the third day of creation. We have that choice. And unfortunately, we've been sucked into big pharma. Not me, but many have been sucked into big pharma. And they have a litany of medications and drugs that they've been prescribed, and they may even be taking them. And there may be contraindications between those medications that they're taking. And yet nobody is checking. And the older you get, the more drugs they give you. And I will tell you that Kenneth is going to be 72 in June. And I'm going to be 67 in 2 weeks. And we are on no medications. We don't take medications. We're not going to take any medications. We don't believe in vaccinations, flu vaccines, because you're putting foreign particles and foreign contaminants into your blood, into your bloodstream.
Not to mention heavy metals and toxic chemicals.
So, and Kenneth just said not to mention heavy metals and toxic chemicals. So what causes hypothyroidism? Oh, one of the other things, you'd have muscle weakness, aches, joint pain, and stiffness. So, yeah. I mean, think about what's going on in your own body. Be aware of what's going on in your own body. So what are the causes? Radiation is one of them. And at the end of this presentation, I'm going to talk specifically about 4 products that will help protect your thyroid from radiation, because we're getting bombarded by radiation, whether you know it or not. Surgeries can cause hypothyroidism, viruses, bacteria, medications, pituitary gland malfunction. Remember I told you there were 3 energy glands: pituitary, adrenals, and the thyroid. So one can affect the other. You can be born with a congenital defect. Diet and environmental contaminants. What you put in this temple can affect your glands, systems, and organs. So be cognizant of what you're putting in your body. This is our responsibility. We are spiritual beings living in a physical body. This body is our responsibility. How are you taking responsibility for your body? This affects over 11 million adults and children, and twice as many women as men. I think women use a lot more chemicals. In fact, we used to have a poster, I think, that said women use over 300 toxic chemicals before breakfast every morning. And this includes her bath or shower gel, her toothpaste, her hair shampoo and conditioner, her perfume, her makeup, her face, creams, lipsticks, all of this stuff. If you're not using 100% pure products like Young Living has to offer, and we offer all that I just mentioned: body washes, shampoos, conditioners, lipstick, makeup, deodorant, all of that stuff. And none of them have chemicals in them. And I think that that's probably one of the reasons that women are more susceptible to hypothyroidism than men. Twice as many. Twice as many. Okay, I had to mute. Some new people came on, I guess. Okay, so let's talk about the number one oil in Young Living that helps to normalize hormonal imbalances of the thyroid and the ovaries for women. Now, Endoflex can also be used by men on the thyroid, but again, twice as many women have thyroid issues as men. This is called Endoflex. Oh, you know what I need? I need my book.
Which one?
The EODR. Oh, here it is. So Endoflex, I don't have the list of what Endoflex has in it, but I do know this. Endoflex has spearmint in it, and we're going to talk about spearmint. Endoflex has, let me find it here. BCDE. I'm looking in the essential oils desk reference. This is our Bible. It has spearmint, which is used to increase metabolism and to burn fat. Now, when we support the thyroid, we're going to be able to burn fat better. With its hormone-like activity, spearmint supports the nervous and glandular system, thus the thyroid gland. Spearmint is also an antispasmodic, it's an antiseptic, it's an anti-inflammatory, and it also is highly invigorating and stimulating. There's also sage in here. It's not clary sage, it's Salvia officinalis, which is the regular, what do you call it? The regular, like prairie sage. And this strengthens the vital energy centers of the body. Actually, the Lakota Indians use sage for purifying, for healing, and for dispelling negative emotions. It also has geranium in it. And I've been talking about geranium more and more because I'm finding that geranium is got some really powerful properties for balancing hormones. It's antispasmodic, it's a relaxant, it's anti-inflammatory, it's antibacterial, antifungal, and it stimulates the liver and the pancreas. And remember, all of these organ systems and glands work together synergistically. That's why I have issue with conventional Western medicine, because they target a symptomatic gland or organ, and they don't look at the whole person. One thing affects another thing, which ripples and affects another thing. This also has myrtle in it, and we're going to talk about myrtle specifically. Myrtle helps to balance hormonal imbalances of the thyroid specifically. Myrtle is powerful. It also has German chamomile in it, so you're going to see a little bit of blue color when you use Endoflex. And this is highly anti-inflammatory, and it's liver protecting. And it has nutmeg in it. And nutmeg is very supportive to the adrenal glands for increased energy, and it's powerfully stimulating and energizing. So there's a couple of ways that you can use Endoflex. You can diffuse it up to 30 minutes 3 times a day. You can directly inhale it. You can put 2 to 4 drops in bath water. I would put that with bath gel, Young Living's unscented bath gel, or you can put it in a cup of Epsom salts, because Epsom salts is very good for drawing out pain out of joints and muscles. It's cleansing and it's grounding for the body. You can also apply it over the lower back. You can put it directly over the thyroid. This is what most people do. And I have heard such great testimonials on people who have had thyroid issues and started using Endoflex every single day and have had amazing results. You can put it over the liver. You can put it over the kidneys, any of the glandular areas. You can put it on the foot, the VitaFlex points. And if you have an essential oils desk reference like this, I'm going to tell you where to get it at the end of this presentation, because If you're interested in learning about the oils, this is the best book on the planet. I'm telling you, I've got every edition of this book, starting with the first edition that was printed in 1999, called the PDR. These are called the EODR, the Essential Oils Desk Reference, and they are must-have because they will teach you everything that you need to know about disease. You can look up disease in the back. You can look up the oils in the front. It will teach you about liver health and give you recipes for cleansing the body. It'll talk about minerals and emotional issues. There's even a section in here on pets, even though we have an animals desk reference. It specifically targets kids. There's a kids section, a personal care section. It's just an incredible resource. So Endoflex is the #1 oil that I recommend. If you're going to use one oil to support your thyroid, it's got to be this oil. Okay? So let's look at other oils that you may have in your arsenal, and you can start using that if you don't have Endoflex, because myrtle is in Endoflex, and we know that it normalizes hormonal imbalances of the thyroid and ovaries. Myrtle stimulates the liver, the thyroid, and the prostate. And it is recommended for hypothyroidism. Sometimes you'll use a blend or a single oil. Myrtle is a single oil. It's actually a biblical oil. And we'll get better results with one or the other. And sometimes you have to figure that out for yourself because it depends on your body chemistry. There is not one pill that fits all here. There's not one oil that fits all. We experiment with them. We see how we feel when we use them, and we use them consistently. One drop of oil is not going to cure hypothyroidism. I'll tell you that right now. So how do you use myrtle? You can apply 2 to 4 drops right over the thyroid or on the bottom of the feet on those VitaFlex points. And I was talking about the EODR it actually has big pictures of these VitaFlex points. If I can bring it up here quickly and show you. I know that's in here somewhere. I don't know where I can't find it. Well, I'm going to have Kenneth find it. It's like in the center of the book. I don't know where it is right now. Okay, so let's look at the next oil. Frankincense. Frankincense can boost overall system balance. That's the whole system. And you know, the beauty of becoming a wholesale member and getting your premium starter kit is it has frankincense in it. It doesn't have myrtle in it. It doesn't have Endoflex, but it does have frankincense in it. And as we go through these oils, if there's an oil that's in that kit, I'll mention it. This boosts the overall system, and it helps memory fog, which can be caused by hypothyroidism. It eases inflammation. There it is. And the thyroid issues can bring. And you can anoint your head with it. I always say if it was good enough for Jesus, it's good enough for me. And you can apply it on location over the thyroid. You can anoint your feet with it. You can inhale it directly. You can diffuse it. You can take it as a dietary supplement. Here's a picture of both the spine and the feet, in the EODR. And it tells you what points of the feet affect different organs of the body. Kenneth, can you give us a little testimonial on how you use frankincense in your Ningxia Red every day and what Ningxia Red is?
Ningxia Red, first of all, is our highly nutritive drink. It's if you're dragging, and especially around 2 o'clock in the afternoon, if you're still working and you've sort of burnt up all the energy during the morning, and you want a big pick-me-up, frankincense in your Nature Red, because the Nature Red gives you all that by itself. It's an excellent boost to that. One of the really interesting things about frankincense is that Dr. H.K. Lynn, I don't know who else, E.K. Young, where is that coming from? Dr. Lynn, who was one of the research scientists that was involved in the remediation of stage 4 cancer back in 2010, 2011, said that if you wanted to put yourself in a position to deter your body ever succumbing to cancer, if you put 4 drops of frankincense in your Nature Red, you pretty much have a barrier there that will keep you or keep your blood cells from ever being attacked. So that's one of the things that we do routinely. In the mornings when we take our 4 ounces, 2 to 4 ounces of Nature Red, we drop in 4 or 5 drops of frankincense as well. So we're sort of protected from that happening. And what I thought was quite interesting when we were down at the spa in February in Guayaquil, Ecuador, they did these tests on us. And at the end of our 2-week stay, one of the things that they said was they found no cancer cells in our body whatsoever. So what we had been doing to ward off those things must very well be working, because they did extensive testing on us and we came up with nothing that would have caused us any really major concerns. So frankincense, get in the habit of using it. Having it on your shelf does you very little good.
Okay, another oil that tends to be, a universal oil. We call it the Swiss Army knife of oils because it is good for everything. When thyroid imbalance causes depression and insomnia, this is definitely the oil to turn to, lavender oil. Lavender comes in the premium starter kit. All you have to do is apply 2 to 4 drops on location. You could apply it over the thyroid. You can apply it to the bottom of the feet, inhale it. Diffuse this at night. And you can take lavender as a dietary supplement as well. In fact, we have these drops that I put in my water that are called YL Vitality Drops. And they have electrolytes in them, and they're really healthy for us. And we have one that has lemon and lavender together. This one in particular has grapefruit and bergamot, and I love these. I do a little squirt in my water, and I drink much more water because of those drops. So lavender oil will help you to rest. It'll help you to unwind. It will help with stress, but it will help with depression caused by thyroid imbalance as well. Roman chamomile or chamomile. Now, German chamomile was in Endoflex. But chamomile is good too because it's good for anxiety and irritability that can plague hypothyroid sufferers. This oil can help ease your mind. And I love to tell the story. My daughter and I are very much alike, Elizabeth. In fact, she just made executive today. I was so proud of her. We're very much alike in that we're kind of type A personalities. We're workaholics, we're very driven, and she maybe suffers a little bit more from anxiety than I do. I don't really have anxiety, and it might be because I use a lot more oils than she does. I don't know. But it used to be, she worked for AT&T for 15 years, and she was in a cube. And every Christmas, I would make her about a 4-ounce spray bottle like this. So that would be twice the size of this. And all I do is I'd put about 15 drops of Roman chamomile in there and water. And she would shake it up. She'd have it next to her desk, and she would spritz herself, her face. It's kind of refreshing when she felt anxious or irritable at work. And she loved it. This Roman chamomile is one of her favorite oils because it does. It calms us down. So if you like feel you're wrapped around the axle or whatever you want to call it, this is make yourself a spritzer bottle, and you can get these spritzer bottles from I think you can get them from Discover LSP, or you can get them from Amazon, and then make up some special sprays for yourself. And this will help again with anxiety and irritability. Here's that geranium that I was touting. Thyroid imbalance is usually associated with systemic inflammation. So geranium much because it has this, it's recommended for hypothyroidism, apply 2 to 4 drops on location again. Now, if you have sensitive skin and you are continuing putting it over your throat and you begin to break out in a rash, then what you need to do is dilute. And you're going to dilute with an oil like coconut oil. If you're not sensitive to coconut oil, some people are allergic to nuts and nut oil. You can use V6, or you can use olive oil from the kitchen. I mean, honestly, any carrier oil will work just to dilute these oils. Again, you can apply it on location, Vitaflex points on the bottom of the feet, inhale it, diffuse it. You can take geranium as a dietary supplement as well. So when I say dietary supplement, Kenneth was telling you about putting maybe 4 to 10 drops of frankincense in your Ningxia Red. Well, some people don't like the taste of oils, and so they'll put them in capsules. And Young Living has a jar of 250 capsules for, I think it's $7.50 or something like that, and they'll last you a very, very long time. In fact, I've shared mine with other people, and oh, here, you need some capsules, use a handful, because they're so inexpensive. And we probably only use on an average 4 to 8 capsules, empty capsules a day that we put our oils in. So, well, maybe more than that. Well, about no more than 8, I don't think, is what I'm making up right now. And so you can take your oils in capsules, especially if you're treating yourself for things like high blood pressure or high cholesterol, and you're using oils that are good for that we talk about in the cardiovascular class. You can take those in capsules, and many of us do. And I know many of the people that are on here tonight do that very thing. Take them in capsules. Another oil that's very uplifting and anti-inflammatory is lemongrass. But again, there is in Deirdre's book, and I know this from personal experience, she talks about lemongrass helping to support the thyroid. And of course, I can't find it now. And she says that we need to be careful because this can cause rashing. This is just an oil that we need to use with caution, okay? So I was going to find exactly what she says, but do you think I can find it? That's the problem. I think you should get this book, and then you guys will have your own, here it is, your own reference guide. It says, note, use lemongrass with caution. Some people react to lemongrass and break out in a rash on the throat where it was applied. You could try diluting it to see if you're sensitive that way. And never put lemongrass directly in the mouth undiluted. I use lemongrass in capsules, but it can burn the mucosal lining of the mouth because it is a very hot oil, lemongrass is. So we use it for rotator cuff injuries as well, but I recommend that you put it in a, dilute it 50-50 with a carrier oil and put it in a rollerball bottle or in a massage bottle, and massage that area until you find relief. So that's lemongrass. Just be careful with lemongrass because it seems like a very benign oil, but It's powerful. It is powerful. It's powerful antifungal, that's for sure. It helps to kill off candida, which is a bad fungus in the gut that can cause toenail fungus and that kind of thing. It's awesome for killing toenail fungus. It's just that lemongrass will discolor your toes. So if you're not vain, you can use lemongrass. Otherwise, I always recommend Melrose for toenail fungus. Lemon. I talked about lemon at the very outset of this class because lemon increases the leukocyte and lymphocyte production in the bone marrow. It increases the production of those white blood cells. But it also detoxifies the liver. It cuts through the brain fog and the memory issues common with thyroid imbalance. Lemon is powerful. We use lemon a lot in this house. I go through many bottles of lemon a year, many bottles of lemon a year. I use it for cleaning. We use it for, the only thing that you have to be concerned about with lemon is that it is a photosensitive oil. So you don't want to put it like over your lip, you know, so that you can breathe it and then go out into the sun because it will discolor your skin. It will darken your skin. No matter how dark you are, it will darken it even more, so substantially that you're going to be able to tell a difference. And it's going to take about 3 or 4 months for that skin to regenerate. And I have heard, I've never seen, never experienced this, but I have heard that some photosensitivities can cause blisters. So just, I always say, citrus oils, put them where the sun doesn't shine. And that includes lemon. So rub lemon over your liver. This is a great place for detoxification to take place. Lemon is great in your water. That's why we like the little drops, because we have the lemon lavender drops. But you can just put straight lemon oil right out of the bottle. This is Vitality lemon oil. That means you can drink it right in your glass of water. And it's going to help cleanse the kidneys and help with brain fog and memory issues and so much more.
And before we venture away from good old lemon, say in your neighborhood, you see a lot of road construction going on and they're retarring the road. And you get home one afternoon and you look at the fender behind your rear tires and you notice that you have splattered that oil, that petroleum, all over the fender back there. The best thing you can come with stuff is lemon. You sprinkle a couple of drops on a cloth and all you have to do is wipe the area that this stuff is in. And when I say wipe, I'm saying you can use no force, no elbow grease at all, and it falls off slick as a whistle. So keep that in mind to give it a test. If you go outside and take a look at the back of your car one day and you see these little chunks and beads of road tar that's collected and hanging around on the back part of your tires, you can fix it with a couple of drops of lemon.
Okay, well, yeah, that has everything to do with the thyroid, doesn't it?
Yes, but I just wanted to throw that in.
Another good oil is ginger. And when your thyroid issues cause digestive issues, see how the thyroid can play havoc with so many different areas in the body. And you want to, you know, remedy that, then ginger is your oil. If you want to strengthen your other oils, turn to ginger. It just adds power to your oils. I like taking ginger in capsules. Kenneth takes ginger in capsules 4 times a day. He takes ginger, black pepper, and nutmeg 4 times a day. This is for him and his, to keep him healthy. So, yeah, so ginger is really a really great, it's a stimulant. It's a great oil to add to your regimen. Cilantro is really a good oil too, and a lot of people don't use cilantro. Cilantro is extremely detoxifying, especially to heavy metals. It's the first step to improving your thyroid health. If you have thyroid issues because of chemical environmental toxicity, which most of that is where it comes from, cilantro is the first step in detoxifying. Maybe detoxify with cilantro for a couple of weeks before you start with Endoflex, just to make sure that you're chelating any of those heavy metals. You can take maybe up to 20 drops of cilantro in a capsule a day. Maybe if you're just starting out, if you don't take as many oils internally like Ken and I do, if you're just starting out, just start out with 4 drops a day and then work your way up to 20 drops and see how that affects, you know, your digestion and other things. But I know that when we have a lot of cilantro around, like if we're growing it in the garden or whatever, I put massive amounts of cilantro in my smoothies because I know that it binds or chelates heavy metals. And we get them in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and the food that we eat. So we really need to be using cilantro from time to time. I highly recommend that you use it as a dietary supplement. I'm not a big diffuser of cilantro. Black pepper is another one. Oh, this is another one that you take. Oh, I did say that. I said black pepper, ginger, and nutmeg. It makes all the other oils in your blend more effective when you add black pepper to the mix. It's a stimulant. It will stimulate your thyroid. It will help it to balance. So use your oils. If you have these oils, start using them. Put them in capsules. Take them during the day. Think of it as food, not as medicine. It is our medicine. On the 3rd day of creation, when God gave us the plants, they were for our food. And after the fall, they were for our medicine as well. And it says in the book of Revelation, in Revelation 22:2, it says, in the last days, the leaves of the trees will be for the healing of the nations. This is your medicine today. Don't go to pharmaceuticals. It's toxifying our systems. It's causing contraindications. We're not getting any healthier with all the drugs that we're taking. I'm not taking any, but I mean as a culture. All right, I want to talk briefly about Thyromin. And I see that Dana Christensen is on. Now, Dana Christensen has a Zyto Elite, and I was talking about that earlier. And I was just wondering, Dana, if I could have you come on and give us your 2 cents. I'll even take 5 cents of your information, not only about how the Zyto can help with thyroid issue detection, but also in how you learned from Gary how to take Thyromin. Are you up for that, or?
I am.
Oh, there she is.
I can. I hope I can keep it to 5 cents, though.
Okay. 10 cents is
Give
good.
us what you got, honey. Give us what you got.
Yeah. So I thought it was really interesting. I was listening to Tom Willishin, and he worked for Young Living as a trainer years ago, and had the privilege of being around Gary a lot. And so he had told about using Thyromin and ramping up. So he said, if your thyroid's not working, that you take 1 Thyromin at bedtime. Now, not when you go to bed, but when you're ready to go to sleep, because if you take it before that, then it would make you stay awake. So right when you're ready to go to sleep, take your Thyromin. And then he said, if your thyroid's not working, add 1 Thyromin every night in addition until it starts working. So I thought that was really interesting. I had never heard of that before, but it makes sense, right? Because if you have a nutritional pothole, you need to fill it up. And it'd be like just topping off your gas tank at every exit when you're going on a trip. You really need to fill that gas tank 1 time, and then you can go a long ways. So I thought that was pretty awesome. And as far as the Zyto, I'm getting ready to do one for somebody who expressed an interest in losing weight. And I said, well, we really need to know where the Zyto uses biofeedback. So it helps us determine, like, where are the problems that she's having? Is it adrenals? Is it thyroid? We need to look at what's going to give her the most benefit for her investment of time and money using the supplements. So, and oils. And then it looks at it looks at frequency, like each organ and gland and everything in your body has its own frequency. And so the system uses lie detector testing technology to determine where our stressors are at and what's working and what's not working. So at the end of this test, once we get a profile and we know what our major problems are, then we put in oils and supplements, and it tells us what the body prefers out of all of that data we put in there. And it's pretty amazing. I've had some really good results with it.
So Dana, a person can be anywhere in the United States and get a Zyto from you. Isn't that correct?
They can. If they don't already have a cradle, a lot of people have them to run a really easy scan on, a quick scan. But if they don't already have one of those, then I would just stick one in the mail to them. And they just have to have a computer with a Windows and the internet. Connect through the internet. So yeah.
My cradle stays in a shipping box all the time because I never know when I'm shipping it to another person so that they can get a Zyto scan. So Dana Christensen does Zyto scans, and Pamela Hyen does Zyto scans, both with the Elite. These are $15,000 devices that they have invested in and have learned and gotten training on. And I tell you, it's one of the most accurate forms of physical body testing that we've ever experienced. I will go and get a Zyto way before I would ever think about going to the doctor. Thank you so much for your time. So for many, many, many years, I took Thyromin. I never had been diagnosed with thyroid problems at all. But you see, this is the mentality that I want you guys to begin to adopt. That it's not, I'm going to mute you guys again. It's not that we should wait for an illness before we start to support our body's health, but that we should support our body's health so that we don't have an illness, so that we don't get sick. So many, many years ago, I said, you know what, I'm going to support my thyroid by taking Thyromin, and I took one every night before I went to bed. And then I bumped it up to 2 every night before I went to bed. And I've done this for about 10 years. I've taken Thyromin. We went to the Young Living Nova Vita Spa in February, and we had extensive live and dry blood analysis. We had just many, many tests. And we found that my thyroid was working spot on. And it was not a recommendation by the clinic that I continue to use Thyromin. But because I had used it for so many years, I think that I had just strengthened it. And it nourishes the thyroid. It normalizes hormonal balance. It's food. This is what we don't understand. What our supplements are there herbs of the field, and there are oils added to them. And they're in a synergistic blend that Gary took years of study and research to perfect. And he used these supplements in his clinic in Chula Vista before Young Living was even thought about. And then when he found how powerful the oils were, he started shifting, and incorporating much of the powerful essential oils along with the supplements that he had already developed. He did an incredible job. So if you just want to support your thyroid, I would start by taking 1 or 2 capsules daily. If you do have a thyroid issue, do what Dana said and start ramping up your Thyromin and see how you feel. I know over the years, many of the people who are in my organization who have had thyroid issues have actually gone off of their Synthroid or their Armor or whatever synthetic thyroid medication they were on, and they felt better about doing that because they knew that they had a supplement that was going to support them. And so, you know, it's again, we have a choice. We still have some freedoms left in this country. And one of them is we can either choose to go with the pharmaceutical companies, or we can choose to go with the products that were given to us through nature, you know, by God, is the way I look at it. You know, people say, well, drugs come from God. They come from somewhere. Yes. But what happens is that they isolate constituents. And so I want to use the word bastardize, but
Diminishes.
it diminishes. No, it doesn't diminish it, because sometimes they're even more potent because they have isolated the constituent, but it's not in its wholeness. So it's going to have side effects with it. If it doesn't have all of its parts, it's going to have side effects with it. And that's why drugs have side effects, because they have been isolated. The component of the plant. I mean, the drugs have to come from somewhere. And so they come from plants, but they've isolated them, or they are chemicals that are made in laboratories that have not come from plants, but they've come from different chemical compounds, and they've put them together. It's scary. Here's a couple of Endoflex testimonials. This one's by Dorothy Gibson out of the UK. She said, I have great results in treating clients with hormonal imbalances using Endoflex from Young Living. It addresses everything from menopause to PMS related symptoms. I use a few drops of this amazing oil blend in a lotion, and I apply it to the abdomen twice a week. It lifts twice a day, excuse me, thank you. It lifts the general mood, and it brings the body back into balance. It's wonderful. Now, if you're going to use a lotion, use Young Living's lotion, because it doesn't have any sodium monosulfate or propylene glycol or any acetyls or chemicals in it. And when you put oils with lotions with chemicals, it just goes into the cell and starts to poison you. The chemicals do, not the oils, but the oils will bring it deeper into the cell because they are accepted into the cell. Phyllis Cameron from California said, I have found Endoflex to be beneficial to my symptoms of hot flashes brought on by menopause. I put a dab on each of my index fingers, and then I rub it on the bottom of my feet, or sometimes into my wrists. However, at the same time I started using Endoflex, I started drinking Ningxia Red every morning, about 1 to 2 ounces. So I attribute my controlling of hot flashes to both products. And when I forget to put on Endoflex, I do find that I'm more prone to having a hot flash. And the same goes when I forget another menopause symptoms to consume my daily Ningxia Red juice. So she finds that they work really good together in tandem. Another thing that's really supportive to the thyroid is MegaCal. And the reason is because it's a very balanced calcium that has magnesium, zinc, and manganese in it. It also has vitamin C, copper glutamate, and it is critical for proper enzyme function, for insulin action, for heart health, including high blood pressure. The zinc is crucial for proper action of hormones, including insulin and growth hormones. And manganese is needed for blood sugar control, energy metabolism, and for proper thyroid function. This MegaCal is best used with this. If you take a smoothie in the morning, it has a little scooper in it, and you can take and put that in your smoothie, or you can add it to your Ningxia Red, or you can add it to 50-50 Ningxia Red orange juice. That's really a good way to take MegaCal as well. Okay. I want to talk to you a little bit about this radiation issue. Now, we don't have Quad Shield anymore, but I think that it bears discussing because during the tsunami in Japan, what year was that? 2009?
We know it was.
We know it was. I don't remember the year of it now, but you know, I think it was the CDC had said that we were not being affected by radiation. But I used to do a lot of wellness evaluations here at my house, and I would do Zytos because I had a Zyto Compass, which is what Dana was saying was the easy, it's kind of a lower level, maybe not as high level. It doesn't get into the details that the elite goes into, but it gives you a good baseline. And so I was doing a lot of that, and I was finding more and more thyroid issues. The more the days would go by after this tsunami and its effect on was it a hydroelectric plant? No, it was a nuclear plant. The nuclear plant, I was finding that there was just an increase in hypothyroidism. And so Gary was aware of this. And look, the winds go from west to east. Japan is to our west. And those winds were blowing over the United States, not to mention radiation that you get from if you're doing x-rays, if you're getting mammograms, which I don't support. If you're going to do, if you're concerned about breast health, then look into thermography. Thermography may not be supported by your insurance, but I'm telling you, it's going to be supported by your body because it doesn't use radiation. The more radiation we put on our body, the more we're going to have problems with our thyroid. So about that time, just after that tsunami, Gary came out with 4 products together in a package and called it Quad Shield. And it's only been in the last couple of years that this is no longer been something that I don't think people have been teaching this enough. And that's why we lose products because people aren't using them. And we're losing really good products because we don't know about them. We're not telling each other about them. But Quad Shield combines 4 products to protect and shield the hormonal, the immune system, and particularly the thyroid. So I had written this many years ago, be proactive in light of the recent Japan radiation disaster by safeguarding your body, but we have to do this regardless of whether or not we're still being affected. And if it's still leaking, we're still being affected.
And we don't know the ones that are leaking and they're not reporting.
Yeah, and Kenneth says we don't know the ones that are leaking and they're not reporting. Radiation surrounds us all the time, and this is a great resource to have. So there's your Thyromin, and I apologize for the old bottle, but this was the group, and this is how it looked back in the day. So you want your Thyromin, you want Super C, and you should be taking Super C anyway because of immunity. We want to keep that immunity built up, and everybody, I mean everybody, should be taking Super C right now. No ifs, ands, or buts. We have the very best vitamin C out there right now. Get vitamin C. And I think I just got 2 bottles of the caplets or tablets because I'm not a big chewable person, but they were available, and so I ordered them. So I don't know if they're available right now, but if they are, put them on your Essential Rewards, get them ordered, put in a quick order, get vitamin C. You need it right now because of what's going on. The oil that was part of this Quad Shield was Melrose, and you heard me talk about Melrose is good for toenail fungus. But Melrose is also very, very good for combating radiation. And I will tell you that I have a neighbor who had cancer, trigeminal nerve cancer, and she had to be radiated. And because she used Melrose, she was the only one in her radiation group here in St. Louis that did not get radiation burns on her face. Her testimony is, it's amazing. It's amazing. She used Melrose and she used rose ointment. Those 2 things kept her from radiation burns. Everybody else was blistered and red. They looked like they had been out in the sun for days. It was horrible. And then the 4th thing that we have as part of this Quad Shield, and this is something that everybody should have on their shelf: the Thyromin, the vitamin C, the Melrose, and longevity. Now, we don't have the longevity capsules right now, but you can make your own because we have longevity oil. So all you do is you take one capsule of longevity, maybe twice a day. You can do it 50-50, like 50% longevity and 50% a carrier oil. Or if you're tough like we are and take a lot of oils, you can take a whole capsule once a day. Melrose, you want to do 6 to 20 drops per capsule, or you can put it in yogurt. Put it on the bottom of your feet. Diffuse it. I love Melrose for anything. It's just great. Super C, you want to take at least 2 tablets daily. What you don't use of vitamin C, you'll lose because it's a water-soluble vitamin. It goes right through your body. And Thyromin, take it the way that we were stating earlier, at night, because it may be that if you take it during the day, you might not be able to sleep, or test it and see what happens, see what works for you. But this is Quad Shield. It doesn't come in a pack anymore, but buy each one of these and have it on your shelf and take it and protect yourself from radiation. I'm going to show you some resources that I strongly support and agree with. The Essential Oils Desk Reference, I was showing you that earlier. It's our oil Bible. Here's Inner Transformations Using Essential Oils. It's a great book. It's a great book on cleansing. Oh, would you hand me that Ultimate Balance book? All day long, like for the last 4 days, Spirit has been telling me, show this book, show this book. And I kept forgetting to take it off the shelf. And this too is by Dr. Leanne Deirdre, and it's called Ultimate Balance. And she talks about essential oil blends and singles for adrenal glands, bladder, gallbladder, heart, kidneys, large intestine, liver. She has beautiful pictures in here. It's really a great resource, and I'm sure that you can still get this, yes, from Discover LSP. So this is another great one. And it probably has thyroid in here too. It has pancreas, pituitary gland, prostate, small intestine. This is in alphabetical order, stomach, thyroid. And she has a section in here on the thyroid. So I sure would. And the oil blends that she recommends, just quickly, Endoflex. She also recommends Transformation. You might want to write these down. Valor, Envision. Inspiration is not available right now. I don't know when it's going to become available again, but if you have some on your shelf, Inspiration, Surrender, and Awaken. And then for single oils, lemongrass, like we mentioned, myrtle, frankincense, and lavender, just like the ones that we mentioned. And then for products, she mentions Thyromin. So this is another really good book, and I was really compelled to share this one with you, because for people who like pictures and like it short and sweet and rule of thumb, this is a good one. Ultimate Balance by, is her name on here? Yeah, Leanne Dordreff. It's there on top. Leanne Dordreff. And you can get this from the same place, Discover LSP. Another book that I really love, if you are looking to live a balanced life and get toxic chemicals and toxic foods out of your life, is Stacey Kimbro's book. Stacey just became a first-time diamond last month. I'm so proud of her. We went to Silver Club together, we went to Gold Club together, and Platinum Club together, and she just made diamond, and I'm very proud of her. She wrote this book, and Gary was very, very pleased with the work that she put in this book, because she was very dyslexic. And to write a book, this was phenomenal, and it's a great book. And you can get this, it's Living Balanced by Stacey Kimbrough, and I believe you can get this from discoverlsp.com, but you can also look up livinganointed.com is Stacey Kimbrough's website, and she has a lot of great resources out there as well. livinganointed.com. So that's the end of this class tonight. It's still 1 hour. I thought it'd be really short. If you have any questions, I'm going to stop the recording right now. And you are sure welcome to ask any questions, and I'll do the best I can to.
Christine,
Yes.
sorry, dear. This is Debbie. Could you go over those blends again? I